The whole carb revival is one of the most revealing backlashes in modern nutrition culture, driven partly by frustration with years of low-carb ideology and partly by a growing recognition that cutting out entire food groups comes with real consequences. After decades of demonizing grains, potatoes, beans, and anything starchy, more people are returning to traditional carbohydrate-rich foods, oats, whole grains, legumes, root vegetables, claiming better energy, better digestion, and even better athletic performance. But as with all trends, the rush to embrace whole carbs again comes with its own hype, oversimplification, and potential pitfalls. And the pendulum swing from carb fear to carb celebration can mislead people into thinking that simply eating more whole carbohydrates is a cure-all for weight, mood, metabolism, and gut health. The revival is partly fueled by the failures of extreme low-carb and keto patterns. Many people who tried to eliminate carbs found themselves tired, constipated, irritable, or emotionally drained. Cutting carbs drastically can lower glycogen stores, reduce exercise performance, disrupt gut microbiota diversity, and even impair satiety signals. With more research highlighting the benefits of fiber and resistant starch, especially on GLP-1, gut health, and metabolic markers, the public narrative has flipped. Instead of treating carbs as the enemy, influencers are now framing them as a missing nutrient, something the body desperately needs to function well. And while there's truth in the value of whole carbohydrates, the marketing around this revival often exaggerates the benefits and glosses over the nuances. Whole carb enthusiasts highlight satiety as a main selling point, claiming that potatoes, whole grains, and legumes keep you fuller for longer, reduce cravings, and support stable glucose. These foods do stimulate natural fullness signals, including GLP-1 and PYY, far more reliably than ultra-processed carbohydrate sources. Their fiber content supports digestion, feeds beneficial microbes, and produces short-chain fatty acids that regulate inflammation and metabolism. For athletes, restoring carbs often leads to improved endurance, better recovery, and sharper focus, because glycogen is still the body's preferred fuel for high-intensity movement. The science here is real. Whole carbs do provide benefits that low-carb diets frequently compromise. But the trend also carries an unmistakable romanticism that can turn into misinformation quickly. Social media has oversimplified the relationship between whole carbohydrate intake and metabolic health, implying that simply adding oats, sourdough, or sweet potatoes will repair hormonal issues or boost metabolism without considering context. Even the conversation around GLP-1 has become distorted, with influencers making it seem like whole carbs are natural versions of weight loss drugs. In reality, GLP-1 responses vary widely based on genetics, body composition, insulin sensitivity, meal composition, sleep, and stress. Not everyone experiences dramatic appetite regulation from these foods, and for some individuals, especially those with insulin resistance, large carb intake, even from whole sources, can still contribute to blood sugar swings or fatigue. The revival also overlooks accessibility and sustainability concerns. Many people cannot consistently purchase niche whole grain products, heritage legumes, or specialty sourdough breads that are now glorified online. The more exotic and artisanal the carb, the more influencers seem to promote it, creating a hierarchy that can make ordinary, inexpensive staples like brown rice or basic oats seem less optimal. This pushes wellness culture back into elitism, where only people with time, money, and health literacy can fully participate. Meanwhile, individuals with limited access to fresh produce or whole grains may be shamed for eating accessible carbohydrates, even though these foods are nutritionally meaningful. There's also a danger in glamorizing high-carb eating without addressing portion sizes, overall diet composition, or individual metabolic needs. Some people genuinely thrive on higher carbohydrate intake, but others may experience worsened energy dips, digestive discomfort, or difficulty regulating appetite if carbs dominate their meals without sufficient protein and healthy fats. The push to trust carbs again can make people feel like they're failing if they don't immediately see the promised outcomes, creating confusion and guilt around food choices all over again, just in the opposite direction of the old low-carb messaging. Perhaps the biggest risk in the whole carb revival is the assumption that returning to whole foods solves everything. The trend can mask emotional eating patterns, stress-related cravings, or an over-reliance on food as self-soothing. It can also encourage people to swing from restrictive low-carb dieting straight into overcompensation, overloading on carbohydrates without addressing the underlying habits or health concerns that prompted restriction in the first place. In some cases, the increased fiber load can even cause more bloating, constipation, or discomfort if added too quickly, yet influencers rarely mention this reality. Ultimately, the whole-carb revival is a reaction to years of nutritional fearmongering, and while it's a step back toward balance, it risks becoming another rigid ideology disguised as empowerment. Whole carbohydrates are valuable foods that support gut health, satiety, and performance, but the wellness industry's tendency to overpromise and oversimplify means that many people will adopt the trend without acknowledging personal biology, lifestyle, or health conditions. When the pendulum swings too far, even in a healthier direction, the nuance disappears, and people end up cycling between extremes. The truth is far less glamorous. Carbs are neither magical nor dangerous. They're a tool, one that works best when incorporated thoughtfully, not blindly embraced as the next antidote to a decade of low-carb myths.